Hi everyone. So let's go ahead and take a look at 22.6. So section 6 here of chapter 22. This is looking at activation of and clonal selection of lymphocytes. This video is also going to cover 22.7 as well. So let's go ahead and talk about where we left off. Maybe not. Here we go. We left off here. We talked about how those lymphocytes were formed and what that maturation process is going to involve, that selection and differentiation. Once they were selected for and they differentiated, remember those naive immunocompetent cells are going to move to secondary lymphatic structures. They are coming either from the thymus, if they're a T cell, or they are coming from the bone marrow if they are a B cell. So they are going to kind of hang out in the tonsils, spleen, lymph nodes, any kind of secondary lymphatic structure. They're going to wait for an antigen encounter. Now, remember I mentioned this last time how T cells and B cells, they can actually leave these secondary lymphatic structures if they want to and kind of migrate around in the lymph, but for the most part they kind of hang out here. So with this video and the animations that you're going to be watching and some other links is going through and talking about this activation of lymphocytes and mainly talking about how activation is going to involve an actual physical contact between the lymphocyte and the antigen it's supposed to be recognizing. And then once it does that, we'll talk about how it's activated. So we'll talk about activation. The site of activation is usually going to be in these secondary lymphatic structures, unless they're wandering around in the lymph. But then we'll talk about once they are activated, then they are going to proliferate and differentiate. So it's talking about the proliferation into the helper T cells and cytotoxic T cells, how they're going to kind of clone themselves, which is the kind of the proliferation process, if you know what proliferate means. And then talk about how B cells are actually going to differentiate into these things called plasma cells, and then they are going to clone themselves as well after that. And so that's what clonal selection is. It's this process of forming clones. Once they are going to be activated by that, they come into contact with that specific antigen. So let's go ahead and, so it kind of covers where that challenge, I already talked about how it usually occurs in the secondary lymphatic structures. Again, sometimes it's in the blood, if it's taken to the spleen. If penetrated the skin, it goes to the lymph nodes. Any antigens from the different like respiratory GI tract, urogenital tract, they usually go to the tonsils and malt. So I'm going to show you where you're going to watch. So you're going to watch a series of animations, and it's going to go through this activation process. It's going to go through this clonal selection. So it's going to cover all of these slides. And it's also you're going to look at the effector response of it as well. What specifically do helper T cells, cytotoxic T cells, and these B lymphocytes, which have differentiated into plasma cells, what exactly they are going to do. So it's going to cover all of these two sections. So let me go in and show you these. And again, these links are underneath the link for this video. But I want to show you how to navigate through these links. So let's take a look at this cell-mediated immunity first. Move it over here so we can see it.
Cell-mediated immunity is the form of immunity carried out by the T lymphocytes, or T cells. The body contains millions of different T cells.
All right, so once you click on it, it'll
Each
pop up and it'll
contains a
start talking.
unique form of T cell receptor on its membrane.
Volume down. But
like
there's this link down
immunoglobulins,
here. If
T
you take
cell
a look at
receptors are
this,
produced through a process of genetic
you can go through
recombination,
this whole
which
process.
is
It's
able
just
to
going
produce
through
millions of
T. It's telling you
variations.
about receptors, which you should already
Each
know.
T
But if
cell
you want a
receptor
refresher,
is capable
listen
of
to it.
binding to a specific foreign
But then
antigen,
it will walk
but
you
only after the
through
antigen has been processed and
what you need to
presented
do
by some other
next. So
cell.
let me see.
T lymphocytes recognize such presenting
I
cells
was hoping it
by
would pop
means
up
of
here in
another
a
surface
second so I can
protein
show you how it'll
called
say, hey,
CD.
click on this.
There are two types of T
Click
cells,
on this link if you
those
want
with
to
CD4 on their
see this.
surface
So,
and those with
but if you want
CD8.
to skip at any
CD4
point,
receptors are
I'm not
found
sure
on
why
helper
this
T
isn't
cells,
working.
while CD8
You
receptors are found on cytotoxic T cells. CD4 and CD8 T cells
it's
are
not working for some
activated
reason,
differently.
but it's
They
probably
also
because
play
I'm trying to
different
record the
roles in the
screen at the
immune
same
system.
time. It's doing some weird stuff. But usually you'll want to go in and click this little arrow, and it will pop up this big long menu, and it will go through, helper T cells, what's going on next after them. Or you can just walk through it. Look, it tells you what it's going to do next. It's probably a lot better if you just walk through it with this animation, because this is going through and telling you what is going to happen next. So this one's cell-mediated immunity. So you're going to go through and it's going to talk about first the helper T cells and how they are activated, how they're going to go through proliferation and differentiation, cloning, and then activation as well. And then it'll walk you through cytotoxic T. So for this one, it tells you to click on the CD4 cell. Again, it's not letting me do it, but let me see if I can, maybe it'll let me with this. Ah, that's what I needed
Most
to
cells
do,
that
not my
display
mouse. But see how I
CD4
clicked on
become
it,
helper
and
T
it's going
cells.
through and walking me through these helper T cell receptors.
CD4 T cells
if you click
can
on this
only
little
recognize
arrow right
foreign
here,
antigens
that's that little
when they
menu
are
I was
presented
looking
in
for.
conjunction
It's going to
with
walk you through
major
this. It's going to go through the
histocompatibility
receptors.
complex,
This is really
or
what you need to focus
MHC
on
class
mainly,
2
is
molecules.
going through and talking about activation, proliferation,
These protein
differentiation, and
molecules
action. So
are
it's
only
going to
found
walk you
on
through the
certain
next
immune
couple of
system
sections
cells,
by going through this,
called
and then it will go through
antigen-presenting
cytotoxic
cells.
T as well. So let's take a look at the other one. Let me click out of this, and let me show you the antibody-mediated immunity. It's going to be really the same thing that is going to happen. Let's see if it pops up. It's not popping up. Technical difficulties, right? Here we go. And let me move it on over here to show you guys what it looks like.
Antibody-mediated immunity is carried out by B lymphocytes, or B
talking about
cells.
B cells and antibodies, and it will have that little prompt that says, hey, click
These
this
cells
so you can learn more
differentiate
about
into
this.
antibody-secreting plasma
But again,
cells
you can
in the
always
lymph
go
nodes
in
and spleen.
and click right here. It's going to go through, again, B cell receptors. It will go through activation and proliferation. I don't know why I keep wanting to say proliferation, because I want to combine these two words, right? Proliferation, slow it down, and differentiation. You can go ahead and watch actions of antibodies. I'm going to tell you to watch it later anyway, once we get into immunoglobulins. So you can go ahead and watch it now, or you can go ahead and you can watch it whenever I prompt you to. And I think it's 22.8 if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check and see when. Yeah, 22.8. So that's what you're going to be looking at. I think it's a really good animation, really good video that sums up the next few slides. So just use your PowerPoint and jot down any extra information that you're going to find on this. So, and once you go through that, so it'll walk you through this, it will walk you through effector responses. And once you're done with that, I will see you next time. We are going to talk about immunoglobulins. And again, I'm going to tell you to go back. I'm going to go through a couple of things in here, but I'm also going to please make sure you go back to that video and look at the actions of antibodies. So until next time.